Wait, what? More Anthem news this weekend? Who would ever thunk? Hey everyone, what's up? Open World Games here. Hope you all are doing good today, and let us begin. So yeah, we're going to be talking about a very interesting post on Reddit about exotic weapons. It highlights this comparison to Anthem versus Destiny, common AR versus the exotic AR. And there were some very interesting responses under there, but also Bioware did end up responding, and interestingly, the dev did delete his responses. So, out of respect, I'm going to paraphrase those responses. They weren't even bad, in my opinion, and they had mostly upvotes, so people were pretty understanding about that, and then some people did respond. But we're also going to be talking about GDC 2019, legendaries for the wrong classes, and then being trapped behind fog walls, so some fixes for that, and then going over your top comments. But let's dive into this one right here. This comes from S13377, who says this: the problem I have with the top tier loot in Anthem is not the drop rate. The real problem is that when it finally drops, it feels like nothing special. This was met with a bunch of upvotes, a lot of responses, and, you know, people agreeing from the community. Now, he highlights again this image here, which showcases the common AR versus the legendary AR in both Destiny and Anthem. You can see the differences are pretty drastic in terms of weapon design. You can clearly see that the Destiny version is a lot more flashier. It pops a lot more, and this is what people really want from their legendaries for sure. If you're going to work and grind your way through hours and hours and hours of the game, you're going to want a weapon that looks really nice and behaves differently and really pops in basically every single way. Now, this was met with a response from Bioware. Again, they did end up deleting their post, so I'm going to keep the dev out of this. But paraphrasing this, basically the gist of it was that if opportunities arise, they will be looking at the legendaries closer going forward and listening to this feedback. Now, he also explained, though, that their focus was really on the third-person perspective in this game, in that they really wanted to showcase customization with your Javelin first and foremost. And the customization is really, really impressive with your Javelin when it comes to color schemes and modifying colors and stuff like that. I think, no doubt, we can agree on that, except, of course, we want more armor, you know, in this game. Armor variants and stuff like that. There's no doubt that that's lacking right now in this game for sure. We need more armor, Bioware. Keep rolling out that armor. But yeah, that was the response from Bioware. Again, it wasn't even that bad, and basically it caused this whole discussion. And if we do pop in over here to Anthem Archives, Anthem Archive, I think it's .com, yes. They did such a good job compiling all of the legendaries, epics, and stuff like that that you can find in the game. My most impressive legendaries that I have found so far are definitely, let me see, where is it? Why can I not find it right now? It's somewhere in here, guys. It's not the Rolling Carnage, but there are some really cool stuff in here. But if we go there, I can't find it for the life of me. That's so weird. I have this one, Artemius Gambit, which I have the masterwork version of this one, but I can never figure out how to get it working. It says, when reloading, detonates a combo explosion in the immediate area. And you got to be like super close to the enemies for that to even work. There they are. So these are the weapons that I wanted to mention. It's like, they're right in front of me. Okay. Cycle of Pain. I love this weapon. And actually, you know, the design for me is actually pretty cool. It pops because it's bright yellow when you are actually playing with it. But I do think that they could do more weapons like the Cycle of Pain right here, and then the Divine Vengeance. Like, these two weapons against each other behave very differently. Now, they definitely, I think, need to upgrade the look of this weapon for sure, but every third weak point hit causes large fire explosions, and it looks freaking awesome, and it causes massive damage, and it behaves differently from anything else in this set. Cycle of Pain has something really cool where weak point hits increases weapon rate of fire, which is also really cool. You can get that RPM up so much as you go, which I love, just hearing the sound of this weapon start churning up as you start getting those hits. But when you get into some of these other legendary weapons, you know, some of their effects are definitely not as impressive. Dashing increases weapon damage, increases weapon damage by a certain percentage for a certain amount of seconds, and it actually has a cool looking skin, like, for sure. but it's not like changing the behavior of the weapon. It's not like you're getting like a huge lightning bolt or a fiery inferno coming from the weapon, you know what I mean? A lot of these weapons are just either increasing damage, changing how much damage you do when floating, and I think there needs to be effects on top of all of this to really make them a lot more fun, and that's something that a lot of us were expecting, and something I think a lot of us need going forward. Like, I keep saying that I would like to see laser-based weapons, and something I think would be interesting to toy around with is having, like, weapon charges. Like, perhaps you have legendaries only that have these weapon charges on them, and you could kind of build up this charge that's separate from your primary fire, and you build up this charge by getting kills or something, completing challenges, something during the gameplay, and then you unleash that charge, whatever it is, on your enemy. It could be anything. It could be vary from weapon to weapon, but I think they definitely need to consider adding more flair to these legendaries going forward. And we did get confirmation that, yes, we're going to be getting more, as they say, unique weapons going forward. Now, there's no confirmation as to when we would be getting those unique weapons. In fact, Act 1, the whole roadmap, didn't mention anything about weapons. But yeah, we definitely need new weapons for sure. Alright, so we have some other news here about GDC 2019, so that's coming up. Actually, it begins tomorrow officially, but GDC 2019 session, new development methodology for Anthem is going to be one of the topics here. And then also we're going to be getting another topic about shading in Anthem. Now, this is what it goes on to say. Join Alan Baxter, Development Director of Bioware, on Thursday, March 21st at the GDC 2019 session, the Pile of Sand development methodology for Anthem. Very interesting stuff here. It says Anthem takes you into a cooperative action RPG set in a new and mysterious environment which is designed to be a living, breathing world for players to explore and immerse themselves in this use of exosuits. We already know that. But it says this: to develop this exciting and challenging world, the Bioware team had to create a broad variety of content. Therefore, production plans were set up, and with the help of phased gates, the team started to build the content. This is where it gets interesting. It says, during production, the team noticed that they were behind schedule with content creation. The solution to the problem was to switch to a new development process called Pile of Sand. The priorities had to be adapted to this new model, and it worked. Towards the end of the production process, Bioware had caught up and was back on schedule. The result was something they were proud of and enjoyed playing. Alan Baxter's talk will explain how the team has adapted to this new process and the lessons learned for future projects. So it sounds like they ran into some hiccups in the development of Anthem and actually fell behind, but they were able to catch up according to this post. I want to know about this new, like, Pile of Sand development process. What in the world? So yeah, they're going to be talking about that in more depth here very soon, and in fact, you're going to be seeing shading in the world of Anthem. It's going to be Thursday, March 21st, so roughly around that time we'll be hearing about Anthem. Will it be anything like groundbreaking, like new content reveals and stuff like that? I'm not too sure. They could tease some artwork, who knows, but I'm going to say probably not, but I'm still extremely curious about the actual development of this game. And I believe another editor from one of the other websites is also going to be getting some hands-on time, well, I guess you would say interview time with Bioware concerning this as well. So we should be hearing more about that soon. Alright, so let's talk about some more responses from Bioware here. So Jeff says this: please fix legendary components for the wrong class. I have loved this game since early access, 150 hours. After 1.03, I've gotten 4 legendary components for classes I don't play and 0 for the class I play. I'm not even going to pull punches. It's depression triggering. I haven't had a problem with loot grind in any versions of the game until this began to happen. Every time I get a legendary now, I cringe and await the heartbreak. And the response from Brendan Holmes was, we're working on it. Sad face. So he knows the disappointment. However, Jeff responded saying, I love you so much. Also got my first legendary for the correct class this morning. So good news there. And the response was from Brendan Holmes, congratulations, smiley face. So yeah, this game has definitely been kind of like a roller coaster of emotions. You're like really enjoying it, then sometimes really disappointing. And the thing that's been happening to me is I just can't freaking find a legendary. Everyone else is like, hey, I've got 2 legendaries in the past 2 days and whatever. And then I did have the game unfortunately crash on me during a legendary contract. Actually, it was this contract, so that was a bummer. I got the masterwork and I was like, this is going good. this is a good sign. I think there might be a legendary at the end of this rainbow. Oh my god. And no, I did not get the legendary at all because it crashed. So that is extremely frustrating, and they've got to really stabilize the game going forward for sure. Alright, so let's talk about being trapped behind a fog wall. This has actually happened to me several times. Now, if this does happen to you, there's a way out of it, by the way. Just to let you know. So all you have to do is pause, go to the pause screen, which is the map button, whatever it is, on your console, and then you will find a respawn button. I don't know what it's going to be for you on what system you have, but usually it's a left stick, excuse me, on PS4 and Xbox One. Hold that down and you'll be able to respawn out of that. But this was posted out there by, let's see here, Darth Crishaw, who says this: after 80 hours on my first legendary drop locked behind force field, I am so done with Anthem. The first 30 hours were great, since then grind and glitches. And he showed a video of him getting trapped behind this fog wall. And as he's trapped behind the fog wall, a legendary plops out of the chest in front of him and he just can't get to it. Now, if he would have known to hold down that respawn button, he would have been able to grab that legendary, which is depressing. I wish I would have been there, man. Or like in spirit telling you, dude, press the pause button, respawn. But this was the response, excuse me, from Bioware Ben, who says, I just wanted to pop in here and apologize for a terrible player experience that I am directly responsible for. As the stronghold lead and the buck stops with me, I can offer explanations, but at the end of the day, that doesn't change the experience. What I really want to do is come in here and explain what we are doing about this so you don't continue to suffer these situations in strongholds. And he furthermore says this: we've disabled every backtracking fog wall in the Temple of Scar and Heart of Rage. So as of the next patch, forgive me for not having the exact date as I'm home, it should be the next scheduled patch in March. Internally, it's called 1.04. So once that patch lands, you should never run into this situation again in either of those strongholds. This is different from forward blocking fog walls, which are necessary. Those remain in place. I'm not currently aware of any backtracking issues in Tyrant Mine, but please call me on it if I'm missing this issue. He says this: number 2, going forward, we won't be using these types of setups unless they are for some reason mission critical to the mission. I've yet to see a mission critical backtracking fog wall, so my expectation is that you're almost never run into this again. If you do, it's likely a bug. And then furthermore, he says, until the patch lands, if you end up in this situation, bring up your map and hold down LS left stick on the controller or Y on your keyboard. There it is. This will respawn you and should put you on the correct side of the fog wall. I have yet to see this fail to respawn you in the correct location. And he is correct about that. Like, I've gotten out of that several times. And then he says, again, I want to reinforce none of this is an excuse, and I truly do apologize that we weren't able to crack this prior to launch or until now. I can only promise we'll do better by you and the community in the future and try to win your trust back. So, you know what? A genuine apology about that. Sucks he missed out on that legendary. That's heartbreaking. Like, if that happened to me and I did not know that you could actually respond like that, that would be heartbreaking, of course. But yeah, good response there, and hope they get that corrected. It looks like it's coming in the next patch. So, yeah, there's that. Alright, guys, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned here for more Anthem news and coverage. We are getting more and more into the end of March here, encroaching on it, which means new content. We should be hearing from Bioware shortly. A new live stream from Bioware. So, yeah, the news should start ramping up even more going forward. With actual, hopefully we get our first looks at the new content. Should be getting, I'm hoping that in the next stream, by the way, they're actually playing a legendary mission, like one of the missions that are being rehauled from the story with the extreme situations, as they call it. So yeah, look out for that. But guys, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more, and I will see you next time. Take care.